I want you guys to understand this, but obviously it's for the Patreon group, okay? So let's look at spinal displacement first. So I'm the uke, and you're going to offer katata dori, okay? And his foot is there, okay? So if I just stay here, no spinal displacement, okay? If I push him where he could stay in place and shift his weight onto the back foot, no spinal displacement still, okay? Spinal displacement is going to require that he can't stay in place, so it's at just shifting your weight's not enough, okay? So for me, at my height, for me to do this, generally it's about 1 to 2 feet past where he is standing now. I have to be able to project him. Then he cannot come back into this, okay? So we'll watch where my foot is, okay? Where his foot is, and then I come in and I get 1 to 2 feet. There we go, okay? And you can see that I have to come to here to get him to there, 1 to 2 feet, okay? That's the minimum on what you do, and that's all you do. So, for example, we'll be over here so we can see all this stuff again, okay? He's there. And just move sideways out of the way. Do you get it? So as I go to push, you move sideways out of the way. This isn't spinal displacement. That was me now walking in. Do you guys understand that? Hence, why I tell you in Tai no Henko, we'll start where we are again, okay? In Tai no Henko, as he goes, you don't ever walk into that. You only fall into the hole that he creates. Whew, that's where I stop, okay? What we do with spinal displacement is within that degree of penetration, I take over and assist or make myself assisted by your penetration. Okay, so for example, again, just generically, we'll switch roles this time, okay? So there we are, okay, and we'll do it just abstractly. All right, so to demonstrate, he does spinal displacement on me. There I had to move the 1 to 2 feet. And then abstractly though, say I grab, he goes to push, and I pull him. Pull him past that 1 to 2 feet penetration, okay? We do that all the time, and that's not the same thing as getting out of the way. If I just get out of the way, he should stop at 1 to 2 feet. That's where he stops, okay? He shouldn't keep going and run little circles around me, okay? What I do usually in that one, so let's take Tai no Henko, is as I start to move this way, and he's penetrating, I'm actually adding my energy to your energy to make you go further. Do you get that? Okay. Let me have you guys just try that first part of Tai no Henko, okay? Okay, so if we, again, see where we are, okay? Per prescription, uke is told to grab, so uke has to grab, and per prescription, uke has to spinally displace. Okay, he has to do that, okay? So, in other words, he can't let go here, because then he'd break the prescription, okay? He can't, let's go slow motion. So let's say that he spinal under spinally displaces so he could let go. Do you get that? He'd be breaking the prescription, okay? But if he's pushing to spinally displace between where he started and to where he ended, I'll already have the adhesion and the leverage, okay? So as he's going home, I'm already over there. So for example, if he lets go before any of those things, he broke the prescription rule. But if he completes them and then tries to let go, you'll see it doesn't matter. So he goes spinally displaced, it doesn't matter. The energy's upon him, okay? If we look at Tenshinage then, okay, we're here. He has to spinally displace. There's my 1 to 2 feet. And it's not that I'm getting out of the way or going way back here so he keeps coming in. As he's coming in, this hand is throwing him in. This hand is throwing him in. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Okay. So when he goes to drive, I capitalize upon it, and he ends up. And he ends up on the arm. Okay. If he, after he completes those 2 prescriptions, if he lets go, you'll see it doesn't matter because I'll have the new adhesion on the face, okay? So he drives again, doesn't matter, okay? Okay, just doesn't matter. So in Tai no Henko, your heaven hand is taking the linear inertia and bringing it here and bringing it in. Your earth hand is taking that same linear inertia and bringing it in still, okay? But he's going to the opposite side, obeying the angle deflection, angle deviation rule that I'm going to deviate. And I'm going to now trade adhesion points from the grip up to the head. And it doesn't matter if he holds on or not, okay? Doesn't matter. Usually they're holding on because the technique's over by the time they think about letting go, but it doesn't matter if he lets go or not because you're controlling at the head, okay? So what I want you to do is this, it's pretty much the same drill as that. Just as he pushes, whoom, bring him up to here. He draws, boom, bring him up to there. That's all I want you to do. So what do you feel? What does the uke feel? Do you feel the acceleration of your energy?
Yes.
Okay. And it's from the initial prescription that because you grabbed and penetrate, boom, I have that small window in which to adhere to you, this time inside your grips, and then this technique to trade adhesion points from grips up to the neck. Right. Can you feel the acceleration? Yes, it is done before he thinks about anything. Okay, and this is the way mid-range grappling happens. The guy presses on you, and within there, you've adhered, got some control point. and you rock your spiral rotation of the fight, okay? So you guys are going to work on that, boom, just bringing them into you in that same place you did the Tai no Henko get on hand, okay?
Sure.
Right. All right. So, and this is, right, this is your classic mudra shape that you're doing, this thing right here, okay? That's the shape you'll see of the various statues of deities, okay? So that's what you're doing. This way. Then I move, and he touches there. So if you pay attention, my hand isn't in the inward spiral at all. It's here, okay? So it is where the heaven hand goes, but now I moved and left it there, okay? So let's look at just this part, okay? You got some tilt, just a little tilt. If you pay attention, watch his body. There's some tilt, do you see? Some tilt in his spine. Okay, so let's get to some tilt in his spine. Then it does not matter if he lets go or not, because this is where I'm controlling him. Using what? He had that forward progress, right? You had the inertia that he has, the linear inertia, and then you have the gravitational inertia, and those are the forces that I use for the throw. I don't need his hands, okay? I don't need his hands at all. So that was, if you can't see it on the camera. You should be able to see it on the camera, but I don't think you can. There's no linear inertia, but there's enough gravitational inertia that I still can adhere. Do you see it? And so now when there's linear inertia, the adhesion is even more superior. It takes less energy, and that's what gets to work, okay? So I would like for you guys to not do the linear inertia, to test whether you can adhere using the gravitational inertia. Okay, got it? It's going to be harder, but if you can do that, then for sure you should be able to do the linear inertia, which makes it easier, okay? So again, the drill was, I passed him to there, then I do the yin yield, okay? I'm not even asking for the X pattern right now, okay? All right, try it.
Different angles somehow, in the sense that I was not having her come in enough. I don't know how to articulate, but
yeah.
It seems like there's some sort of conceptual relationship
there is. It's the same thing we're doing in Ikkyo. It's just in a different place with different contact points. But the spiral is the same yin yielding spiral, that meaning that he has to come forward in order to go back. So we'll look at why, okay? So we know in the technique your inertia would be going forward, okay? So we have to, and that's the whole point of it. Because I'm doing it with your inertia going forward, that inertia, that momentum is going to create various checks on your body, what your feet can do and can't do. Do you see what your center of gravity can and can't do? So for example, it can't go backwards because it's preoccupied going forward, okay? So if we got here and you had that little tilt, okay, and he can't go backwards. If he goes to the outside, he tries to get to the outside. Do you got it? Okay, so when he goes to the outside, if I try to shove him back, you could probably get there. Just do your best. Right. Go, you see? And he's doing the same thing. Let's come and film it on this side. This is the same thing that the Ikkyo who's rolling out is using on against you, because if I'm trying to shove him back, he's now 90 degrees to my force line, and he will non-contest and get out of there. I'll lose that arm, okay? So when you're trying to go out, I don't do that. As you go out, I go here,
Right.
forward. Do you see that? See that? And that is, conceptually, that's exactly what you're doing on the elbow in Ikkyo, okay? Now, that's going to be more easier at full speed because you actually are flying forward, okay? Now, let's say you smell it and you try to come into me.
Right.
Do you see that?
Right.
So as I'm doing this and he starts to come into me, that's where the X pattern comes in, okay? Okay? So the guy who's trying to get out of the technique is falling deeper into the technique. He's not escaping. There's just nowhere to go. The only way you can do something is you didn't follow the initial prescriptions. That's the only way, okay? There's no ukemi in the modern sense, like he has to do something. He has to compromise his posture in some way, or he has to get the right degree of penetration. There's no ukemi in terms of that. The only ukemi is that he has to reconcile the mat yang value at the bottom and not get killed or injured. Okay, that's the only ukemi. All right. So this is why when you're doing the technique and you're throwing him here, you can't smell it. You can't smell that curve because you'll have only two vectors and he can't contest those vectors. Okay. Instead, as he's going, if you watch his center, we'll take away all linear inertia, just plot his center in space, you're going to see that it doesn't go back right away. The same adhesion that is here on his chin and cheek is going to bring him in, then back, okay? Does that make sense? So now I have all the vectors. So we're going this way, we're going out, we're going back, we're going in, okay? And then he can't contest. There's no contest. The only way out of that technique is to never get in it, okay?